This conference will now be recorded.
Sorry, go ahead.
Councilor Pizza. Councilor Johnson.
Here.
Councilor Arnold. Present. Councilor Cavan.
Here.
Councilor Moore.
Here.
All right, that's our member online. And let's see if I could get a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I think there's one of the departments wants to pull their item from agenda.
Yes.
So the item number 2, item number 2, consider approval for purchase of unit 5P design and bid documents from Southern Bender. Actually, I'd like to request from the vice chair if we can table that item until the RFP 25002 goes out. We want to generate some kind of competition, and maybe we can put this out to kind of save some money. Want to get a better price. The RFP is on the street now. Could we recommend that pretty soon, right up? Okay.
Yes, it advertises on tomorrow.
Okay.
With the vice chair and committee's permission, we'd like to table it until after this. I'll be at the front page of it, if any.
No, that sounds good.
Other than that, if I have any questions.
So with that change to the agenda, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay. With hearing any opposed, that's change to the agenda has been approved. Striking number 2 to be tabled. With that being done, can I get a motion possibly to approve the amended agenda?
So approved.
So
So
approved.
moved.
So approved by Mr. Cavan?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Okay.
Second by Councilor Arnold. And if I could get a pleasure of somebody approving the minutes.
Daryl, call for a vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
You're running on the list.
Oh, and the last ones, all in favor of approving the amended agenda,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, so approved. All right, I'm getting good at this.
There you go.
Yeah. Bird turtle, not a problem. Let's see, and so approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair?
I'd like to make,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Councilor Moore.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for Infrastructure Committee on June the 17th, 2024.
Second.
As
Motion by Councilor Moore, second by Councilor Arnold. Any opposed? So approved? All right, and with number 2 being tabled, we're going to go right to number 3. Mr. Nahar,
I'll take this one.
or there you go, James. Go ahead.
Mr. Vice Chairman, committee members, what you have before you is recommended award of ITB 2414, which is Roswell Air Center Phase 2 Water Extension Project, awarded to White Cloud Pipeline in the amount of $1,471,040.55, including GRT. We opened bids on July 9th. White Cloud, as you can see in your packet, was the lowest bid. In your packet is the letter of recommended award, as well as the bid tabulation. This project's on the current approved FY25 budget for the Air Center. Funding is per state appropriation 20-E2494, which is that pass-through grant through Chaves County. We had a conference call with Chaves County last week, and they told us the current available grant amount is $1,963,023. Stand for questions. And I believe if you back up one slide, Monica, there's a map. I know it might be a little hard to see, but the orange line is the phase 2 water extension. So heading south, pretty much adjacent to the perimeter fence, and then turning west.
Are you doing just the orange?
Yes, sir, just the orange line.
And the yellow line's already in?
Oh, I'm sorry, if you call that yellow, the yellow line, the one that's heading south and then turning west is what we're talking about now.
The red line is not in there at this
Correct.
point. That is phase 3.
3, yes.
So the only thing is that red, okay, well, it looks yellow.
So this would be the bid for construction for the orangish yellow phase 2 of the southeast water line. And this is just the water utility. The sewer utility is being sent out for RFP design. Yes.
And then you'll put a T in the orange line? Whatever, red or whatever.
Yeah, we'll have a tee up for the future.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to send this award of ITB-24-014 RAC Phase 2 Water Extension Project to White Cloud Pipeline in the amount of $1,471, $1,471.40 with 55 pennies to finance with the recommendation to put on the consent agenda.
Okay.
I apologize, I didn't ask the question before you did that. I'm so sorry.
Not a
I
problem.
do have a question.
Councilor Arnold, do you have a question?
So that amount is actually standing out to me because it's like 300,000 plus lower than the other four who tend to all have the same price range. That the reason I'm just going to say that concerns me is because there tends to be, when they come in that low, we end up having to approve more later. And when you have an average of the others.
I'll answer that question, Counselor. What it is, White Cloud did phase number 1.
Okay.
So they already know what they're dealing with. Also, their overhead's a lot lower. Tani is the president. Her husband is the superintendent. Her father's on the crew. Her son's on the crew. And they have 2 more. So they did phase 1. So that's why it's a family thing. So
Okay.
I'm not worried with their price.
Okay.
The one comment about this, it takes 14 weeks to get 14-inch valves if everything stays on schedule.
Okay. That answers, thank you. I get how the family
Yeah.
and having done phase 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Arnold. Is there any more questions?
I'll second. Counselor.
Motion stands and she seconded. So
Motion stands, she seconds it. Can we have a vote on this one?
all those in favor say aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? With none being said, so approved. To move to the Finance Committee meeting. And we're moving to item number 4. That one there will be Mr. Lewis or Mr. James, whichever one wants to take the.
Daniel.
Sure. Mr. Vice Chair, I'd like to introduce the scope of work for request for proposal for janitorial custodial services.
Okay.
Standard across the board, we didn't change anything yet. Need to get this contract open so we can get some more services.
Okay.
Pretty standard, right?
Yes, sir.
Quick question, Mr. Chair.
We have a question by Council Lady Arnold. Go ahead.
So I'm sorry, but I'm not picking up on it. Who are the services? Is it a broad
Yes, ma'am.
service or is it for one specific place? Because, you know, janitorial.
It's across the city.
It's
Different
across-
departments have the choice whether they want to use the service or not.
Okay, that's what I wasn't understanding. Thank you very much.
Any more questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of RFP 25-003, scope of work for janitorial custodial services,
Second,
and put it on the consent agenda.
For the consent?
Yes.
Okay.
second.
And second by Council Lady Arnold. All in favor of this approval, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, so approved. Now we're going to go down to our non-action items. And this is discussion of our purchase of farmland adjacent to the wastewater treatment plant. We always keep this
Mr.
out.
Chairman, the agenda was amended. Number 5 is water rates construction, waterway discussion.
Oh. Okay. My apologies, I didn't see this. Water rate discussion, what's that? You don't have that one either. Between the time the first one hit our box and now, obviously, there is a change in the non-action items. Number 5, it now currently is water rates discussion. And I believe this is going to be Council Lady Arnold.
Do you have any other documents to go with this?
That's not for me. That's the city's amended version of this.
Okay. Let's try to figure out what we're.
Counselor, we were asked to put it on the agenda as a discussion item.
Yeah. I requested that it be put on the agenda just as a discussion item, because I'm concerned for several reasons regarding the new water rates implementation and a couple of other items. And just kind of wanted some feedback on your confidence in it, and an opportunity to express that I have some things that just seem off to me. First thing I'll note is I noticed it personally on Monday when I received my bill. Not that I didn't expect a rate increase, but I didn't expect a 200% rate increase. I live alone with a puppy. Well, she's actually an old dog. And it actually brought to my attention that I'd never really paid attention to my usage. And 35,000 gallons for one person and a dog is a lot, especially when I went from May to having 20,000, which is even still a lot when you actually start to understand that 8,300 is your normal per person rate per day. And so when that happened, and then I started getting email after email of other rates, then I started kind of looking at the science of this, and I think there's a couple things that are way off. And I'm very aware that I have discussed it with a couple other counselors, and the concerns are there. So I did ask for, because this is what stuck out and was quite profound, is that it actually really kind of highlights those people who are either massively using water, abusing the water, or not, are ignorant to the fact that they have a leak, or which is kind of my thing, because I spent 4 years with the same water rates, so it never dawned on me that there might be a problem. I actually didn't learn the average usage of, until we started this and didn't make it applicable to myself. I just paid my bill because it was the same. It had been for 4 years. So it didn't stand out. But it did, the rate increase actually brought to my attention that, okay, there's either something, you have either people that are, like I said, abusing the system, have a leak, aren't aware of their average uses, probably have no clue that they're actually going over, or fourth, there's something wrong with our meters. Because if you think about 35,000 gallons, when I actually went in to research that, I was told that at night when I sprinkle, I'm using 30 gallons per minute. And I'm actually been advised that 30 gallons per minute would require me to have a 4-inch line. So something doesn't seem right by that, because usually the average, as I understand it, is about 5 to 6, maybe 7 for a 1-inch line, which is usually my daily average. And so I'm using mine. I've collected a whole bunch from other people, but I don't know their lifestyles, so it's easier to kind of look at mine. And I did ask, this is the part that got me, I asked for information on how many accounts we have where they're over 26,000 gallons. Because that is the, when this was actually presented to us, we were presented with a concept that the average usage for Roswell is around 21,000 gallons. So when you think of that, after 17 public hearings and a year and a half, Robert, we've been talking about this for about a year and a half now, right? And a year and a half, you kind of go, okay, well, 21,000 gallons is actually not a lot. You see how this isn't going to be a huge influx. They can kind of handle that. But then you don't ever think about those that are using 45,000 gallons. Because in your mind, if the average is 21, how many people are using 45,000? Interestingly, I talked to a gentleman who has a family of 4, a yard twice the size of mine, and used 30,000 gallons. So I'm just going to say, I absolutely voted for the rate increase, but I will tell you at this point, I have very little confidence in the system to actually, I can't actually tell people and look them in the face and say, no, this is the way it is, because there's so many variables that make me doubt that the system was even strong enough to actually implement a rate increase that would be accurate. We've known that we've had meters. I don't know that the meters are calibrated correctly. We've known that we have had meters, well, as I've heard them referred to, junk meters. I don't know that they're certified. The company that actually, did them is out of business. So there's so many variables here that make me actually very, very uncomfortable with the vote that I made. I made that vote with 9 other people. So I'm just raising the point that I cannot with full honor and integrity say that those people's water bills, because when you have 200 and 300%, that can't just be, well, they're abusing the system or they're abusing water. That's not a viable response. We have a duty to actually look in to make sure that there isn't something wrong, or that they're actually educated on really what normal usage looks like. And we do have a very solid team working on conservation and stuff like that. I've come across other errors in sanitation where those rates were implemented incorrectly. So I do want to ask, are the current rates where the system was set up at this point, what was applied to this bill, have we verified that those are the rates that was passed in the ordinance? Have we done that? Can we actually say that they match what's in the ordinance?
We're all looking at you.
No, they weren't. The original ones that were put in were ones from January.
And we have changed them since then. So the bills that went out July 1st did not have the correct rates.
Okay.
So what's the difference in the rates that went out?
Well, if you look at just a 4,000 gallons, the rate that went out was $3.22. The rate that it should have been was $2.83. And then you get into the over 20,000. The rate that went out was $6.44, and it should have been $5.66.
Okay. So add this conversation that we're taking care of those bills that went out, but the next bills that go out should be fixed, correct?
One's in July, I would hope so.
Okay.
It's not my department, so I can't talk with that.
My question, your water usage from March to the one you just got, has the usage changed?
From May to June, there was a change.
This is peak water. This is peak watering season right now. It will be the peak of any bills. And then to implement a change with a big fallacy like that. And as it was mentioned by the city manager, that he understood there was a big mistake in it. Number one, it went out early. Now the implementation of this as well. I see twofold problems already, Council Lady Arnold, and hopefully we can be addressed. And of course, I voted for it too. And of course, I've heard of the complaints as well. Hopefully we can see a brighter side to this soon. But City Manager, I'm not sure if you have any response on this.
I would like to respond to it, and I appreciate the opportunity. So yes, we crossed fiscal years as of July 1st. And what was not very clear in the ordinance was how to apply the effective date of the increase. What was not also not communicated very well from water to water billing through accounting is the new rates that would apply to that water bill. So you had partial water bills for June consumption that were billed at the new July 1st rate. You had contacted me. I think I was in Fort Worth, Texas at that particular moment in time. I also spoke to for Hildenbrand, alerting me to the issues that were coming in through Facebook and other sources. The day I got back from Fort Worth, we had an emergency meeting that included water, our wastewater superintendent, our water billing department, and our accounting department to try and figure out what exactly had occurred, how had the ordinance been applied. What we noticed was that the rates were incorrect and had been applied to the month of June usage. And again, that was peak usage. And as you know, from your own study of the rates over that, I believe it was 8-month period, where we had discussions about the rate, it's a tiered rate. So the more you use, the higher the tier. But the rates had changed at several points in time from the January rates, and these were misapplied to June. So that is the crux of what occurred. That went out. There's a 5 cycle billing that goes out to customers. We retrieved the remainder of those cycles and prevented them from going out so that we can make the correction to those water bills and have the ones that did go out manually credited back to the customer's account for usage in June that was billing rates applied for the July rates, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely, because it's like the third time I've heard it. So I do appreciate that we are informing the public. The only thing I did not hear was that the rates were applied incorrectly. I knew that we had done them, early and off. I also did a lot of math, which is not my strong suit, so I had that backed up. I know the usage of my May amount. I know that there is an increase, and I'm going to say for the record, there's something off here. Okay, I get what we're doing, been to all the meetings, I was part of the infrastructure committee. I think I was even chair, so I'm very aware of all of this. And I'm telling you, something's off, and I have no confidence in this at all. So I get that you guys are good with the rate increase, but at this point, I would prefer, before you send that out, that, can someone give me a mock bill of what that might look like? Because I'm so confused, and I have no doubt that my constituents are so confused, and I have no doubt that my constituents are livid as hell, because I'm getting it from them. And my name is on it. Your name is on it. Your name is on it. We're all on it. So I'm just saying. Not comfortable at all.
I didn't think we would hear this till August, but we're already hearing it in July. And that was a little earlier than I thought we'd be hearing it as well. But thank you for your concerns. Seriously, those are legitimate questions that required some good answers. And I think what we need to, display here is transparency to all water users of the city of Roswell, and make it quite clear that, what we voted on and what we approved should be listed on our water bill, and it should reflect such.
And it did not. Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to get that on there.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
There was a question brought up about meters.
Yes, sir.
The meter company has not gone out of business. Camtruck Meters is still in business.
Okay,
The set valve.
Camtruck Meters,
but the valve,
the set valve company's out of business.
right.
Camtruck Meters meets AWWA and NSFA or NSF standards.
Neat. I'm telling you, you can tell me all that. At this point,
Out of all the meters that we've done tests on, we've had problems with 2 meters. And they were just way out of whack. We can go out and test meters with the equipment that we have, and we put a gallon per minute gauge on an outside faucet, and we put a puck on the meter, and we can see that they're registering the same. And we have done hundreds of those, and we haven't had any problems. So that's the thing that we always have, is the customers go, oh, the meter's wrong. And then, we'll put in another new meter and it shows the same thing. We can go back on history. I can go back to either 21 or 22 and show that the readings are about the same. And I've done that, I don't know how many times in the last 10 days. And the readings are consistent.
That's good to hear. That's music to my ears.
We've gone through, we've tested stuff. It's not the meters. And these meters are used all over the place. They meet the standard.
Councilor Kevin, did you have a comment?
Well, and so I don't think I really got the answer to my question earlier. So we'll just say your May usage. How many gallons of water did you use in May?
21,000,
Okay, and what did it go to this time?
35,000.
35,000. So you think there's a leak, or you start watering more?
I have no clue. Because like I said, this has always kind of been, last year, for the month of June, I used 42,000.
So did you ask Robert to look back at your history to see what your history looked like back a year ago at the same time?
Yes, I sat down and visited with him, and he educated me on a whole lot. But the point that actually kind of stood out for me is that number one, I kind of felt like that might, I don't want to say that at this point. I didn't realize that was so way high over an average usage. I mean, extensively for one person. And I've been paying that bill for 4 years. And I'm sitting here and I'm not thinking about me. I've paid it with no question. I'm thinking about the 48,000 people who may have the same situation who had no clue. Some of them, yes, My dad is actually one of them. He'll water the heck and he'll water the heck out of his yard and he's happy to pay it. But there are others I feel had no, they aren't even educated on the process. And to accuse them of using it or having a leak without them even knowing, because they wouldn't know that they had a leak because they're not educated on what's an average use. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. I don't actually have an answer because I've been at this since Monday of, last week. But like I said, I'm just, did I use, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Counselor Moore, go ahead.
Oh, let her finish. I just had a question.
Oh, did you finish your thought?
No, I just wanted to say that, did I use 21,000 to 35,000 in 1 month?
$14,000 differential.
Oh, yeah, 14,000 gallons differential. I totally expected an additional amount because it is summer. I completely gathered that and I deduced that in my figurations. So I'm not naive to that because I also know that in January, my bill is $69. So in May, my bill was $128, or this last pay cycle. This month, my bill was $299.99.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we heard an explanation for that the formula was wrong as part of the problem.
See, and even with the new formula, on the old rates, you would have paid, just in consumption, $74.56. Under the new rates, it's $155.65.
Why is that, Robert?
Once you get over that, once you get over
gallons.
the 10,000, it starts getting more expensive. Once you hit the 18,000, you're paying twice as much as you are for the lower rate.
And so going off at what we consider to be an average of 21,000 for, a family, I kind of questioned, did we actually set our variables too low on that high, that double increase? In the sense as, because we went off of a national average, and you're figuring in everything nationally, but this is a desert. And I'm not really particularly excited about having this place look brown. I like our green. And I get that it costs a little more. I understand that. And but punish people for having beautiful yard.
So the national average is 100 gallons per person per day. Or no, the national average is 82 gallons per person per day. We set ours at 100 gallons per person per day.
Okay.
A family of 4 does 10,400 gallons in a month.
A family of 4 does 10,000 gallons. So this.
So that's why the increases start getting.
And that is a national average of 10,000 gallons for a family of 4?
Yes.
Okay, see, and that's why when I asked for data because I asked for how many people are over 26,000. And I was actually informed that we don't have that data. We don't have an ability to pull that data. So I have no idea how many people are actually using over 26,000 gallons. And evidently there's quite a few. I mean, if one person is 26,000 over the monthly average, and I have a yard the size of this room. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not actually about to get Arnold, so I'm gonna, because my Irish is coming out.
Does anybody else have anything?
Counselor Moore.
Counselor Moore, go ahead. Counselor Moore, go ahead. I see her speaking, but I'm not.
Muted.
Mute button.
Muted yourself.
Counselor Arnold, Counselor Moore, sorry, you may be muted. Yes. Counselor Moore, yes, your mic is turned off, Counselor Moore.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead and move on.
Does anybody have any more comments regarding to Counselor Arnold's water rate discussion? Yes, Mayor.
You know, one thing you have to know in this country is that leaks that you have don't always come to the surface. And you have to know that. There's a lot of times the leaks don't come up, they go down. And so if you have a leak, you have to be careful. One thing, if you look at your sprinklers and you find out what kind you have, if you get a pressure gauge and put it on your valve, your faucet outside, read your pressure when you start, and then open your when you open your sprinkler valves, you can look at your pressure there and see what kind of pressure drop you have, and you can kind of figure out pretty much how many, by the type of sprinkler valve you have, you can figure out how many gallons a minute is going out your pipe when your sprinkler valves are on. Seemed like to me there was a rule of thumb of about on a 3/4 inch line, it was like usually you can get about 17 gallons a minute out of a 3/4 line. Is that about right, Louis?
I don't know.
You know,
I can't remember that one right now. I always gotta look that up.
It seemed like it was like you can get like 17 gallons a minute is what seemed like it, how much you get if you had we're just sitting there with a 3/4 inch line and you're filling a bucket. You know, and you know, so you're just looking at that, but your size of your meter is going to control the amount of volume you can get to your house and to your sprinklers. It's going to be controlled by the size of the meter, is how much water it's going to let into your house. And in Roswell, in a lot of places, though, you might have an 1.5 inch meter, and you come, when they go into your house, they go into your house with a 3/4 inch line. And that defeats the whole purpose of having an 1.5 inch meter. Then larger meters or whatever are usually for yards, because you have a significant increase in the volume of your water you need to run your sprinkler system. And just so you look at that, but it's all calculable. If you have just an open flow running out to one thing, if you have 65 pounds at the start and you have sprinklers and they run at 40 pounds of pressure per minute, your flow is not near as great. So you can kind of figure that out if you look. Used to be for Toros, it used to be seemed like it was 4 gallons a minute for a full circle, and that 2 gallons for a half circle, and a gallon per quarter. Which they used to be a long time ago. I haven't done sprinklers in a long time, but I know in my house with the sprinklers I have at my country house, it's geared for about a 2-inch valve, or 2-inch valve allows about 100 gallons a minute to go through it without increasing where you don't want your volume of the line water going through your pipe to be too fast, because when you shut it off, it creates a water hammer back. So you have to be careful of that kind of stuff. If the speed of the water going through your pipe makes a difference. So, but you can really figure it out if you just look what kind of sprinklers you have, and you can get some idea, but you have to know the beginning pressure and the pressure while it's running.
And we're more than happy to come out and check stuff. That's why we have Chantel, and she goes out and you can do all kinds of tests on those meters and find out exactly what's going on.
But the meters that we've had, the problem with the meters was with the reading devices, not necessarily the flow calculation of what went through the meters, was my understanding.
And the The problem that we have with the reading devices is that we just can't read it to the system. And those get manually read.
But the devices are measuring, the valves themselves are measuring appropriately.
Everything that we found two that have. We sent them back to the manufacturer.
Were they overreading or underreading?
They were like gazillions over. It was.
Nobody reports under reading.
Yeah. It was one of those ones that was very obvious that there was a problem. And both of them were a defect in the reading.
Yeah, co-op. Yeah, I really thought I used a whole lot more, right?
Right.
Council Lady Moore ever come back?
Council Lady Moore, I see you came on. There you go. Would you, go ahead.
Yeah, I was still there. So in the increase, now, so the more water you use, the more the bill, every time it goes up, the price goes up. So, but still to go up 200%, to go from $69 to $299 for only using 10,000 more, that just seemed like a whole lot. So I think I'm with Council Arnold. I think we need to revisit and see how this looks. And for individual, and y'all don't judge me. I don't water my grass. I like dirt, so I don't water the grass. And my bill still went up that much. I don't, like I said, and I'm gone all of June. So y'all they say that's the increase, but mine shouldn't increase by that much because I'm not even there. So the annual, the base unit should be close to the same, but mine went up like 14,000 too, and I'm not even there. So maybe I don't understand. I didn't go and sit like Council Arnold did and get an understanding of all those things, but from a $69 bill to a $299 bill, and all of our discussion when he was showing us his bill in the meeting and stuff, it was only like $20 or $30, and we were like, okay, that's not too bad, but $250 more, that's a whole lot. So, and I don't know, like she said, if it's in the billing or if in the reading of the meter, but I think that's something we should understand before we try to take it out to the community. We have to understand what it looks like, so that if somebody asks me, well, why did my bill go from $69 to $299, I would be able to explain it a little better. And I do understand what she said. Every 10,000 or whatever, the price goes up for the amount of the water, and I get that, but that's just a lot. And I'm kind of like her. I kind of like Councilor Honor. It's just me and a little old dog. That's all it is. And so I just pay the bill when it comes, but when I go from $69 to $200, I think I feel like we have the right to question and right to understand, because we're going to have to explain to our constituents how their bills go from $60 to $290, and we only use a couple gallons more water. So I guess I'll go and visit with, I don't know who would it be, the bill people, or would it be the meter readers that would help me understand how to explain this to constituents?
So Councilor Moore, if I can answer that question, this is Chad Cole. I think the development of the water study, our expert, of course, is Robert Glenn on that. What I need from our departments is working together between water and water billing and accounting. So all of these are interconjoined functions that have to work together to get this right. Whether it was a January proposal that got entered and not the formally ordinanced new rate. There's an accounting function to getting the billing right, but you've got to have the billing rate set right in the accounting system. And our expert on the water rates themselves are the gentleman who prepared the study and presented that to council over 8 months. So in terms of inquiries about the study itself, I would refer you to Mr. Robert Glenn.
Okay, so that's who I need to visit with then, right? To help me understand, so that we can explain it to people, because we're gonna have to explain it over and over and over again. So, so
Councilor, this is Robert.
we'll send them all to Mr. Glenn. How about that? All 100,000 that keep asking, we'll send them all to Mr. Glenn.
I think I've gotten a lot of them. Councilor, the easiest thing to do is if you come over by my office, I actually have it up on my whiteboard so I can walk you through it.
Okay.
And just so you know, I used my rates as a kind of a guide when we were all going through this. They came out pretty close. I think I was within $5.
Okay.
On your new bill?
Yep.
On your new bill, it only went up like $5.
Just fixed everybody else?
If I walk going back, because I use more water. I use quite a bit more water.
That takes a lot.
But if you walk it back to where I had it set up all through this thing, it's right on. It's within $5.
But it's hard water and soft water reads the same.
That's true. I should have to bill the city for all the salt things.
Okay, do we have any more questions concerning the water rate discussion? Thank you, Christine. Lady Council. We're going to move over to action item number 6.
On action item 6, Mr. Chairman and committee, Councilor Oropesa just wants us to bring this up every meeting. Doesn't want the city to get caught painted into the corner when we need to expand and don't have the property.
And thank you, Louis. And I appreciate that. I think it needs to be out in front of us. And we always need to know that it's available and ready. And hopefully it doesn't get away from us. I believe it was on the ICIP.
Number 5.
And
It's in the top 5.
in the top 5, yes. So Lorenzo, go ahead.
Vice Chair, committee members, we do have an update on that now. Timmy Taylor, finally, they finished with the state finalization of state. It is in his name, and he is willing to sell the property now to the city. I did talk to him this morning, and he's willing to let Hess, the city attorney, draw up the paperwork for the property. Of course, that's with the understanding that he's probably gonna have to wait until about March to see if we get any money from the legislature, the ICIP, and he's willing to do that, and he's willing to do it at the old appraisal rate that we got done back in, I believe, 21. So he will sell it to us for that appraisal rate, 750, whatever thousand it was. So
And is that for just site 2?
it just site, because we had a couple different things right here. It's a property, yes, site 2, I believe it's directly east of the waste.
Yes. Okay.
Because the other one was like at $1.2 million.
See, and that's, that would be up here, correct?
Yes, that was the north side, yes, so it's.
Yeah, so,
But that is, site 2 is, I believe, all the way from there, all the way up to Red Bridge.
so, because I think
This
the
is
city is
normal.
just interested in the one directly to the
Correct,
east,
yes.
not all the way to, what is that, Red Bridge Road?
This is an old one, I believe.
Okay, so this, I think we've had this discussion
Yeah,
before,
so-
yeah. So this is all one site,
I
right?
think that's
here.
all one site now.
Okay, we may want to update that because I get confused every
So-
time.
Yeah, I don't know who submitted that one to you, but I'll get you an
Yeah,
updated one.
not a problem.
But he is willing to do that.
To clarify with Mr. Sanchez, what is the capacity, the current capacity of wastewater facility?
We're permitted for 7.5 million gallons, but we actually have the capacity to run 15 million gallons per day.
Okay. And if-
55%. 55% capacity currently.
Not even that. We run an average of 3.5 to 4 million gallons per day. We're permitted for more.
so, and you think that capacity right now currently would hold us for 10 years? 5 years?
I believe it would hold us in the 10. My concern is the infrastructure is built there. You have about 3 or 4 plants built all on top of each other. So you have all the infrastructure that's buried underneath, all the concrete, everything else. It costs us more in the future to build, tear it up, excavate all the underneath, all the buried skeletons underneath.
We could utilize this while we're
We could
constructing
utilize
another
this,
one.
build a whole new one, and then completely put the new plant online, because everything is designed to flow to that specific location. Everything is gravity fed besides our 4 lift stations. Everything flows to that specific site. So right there, we built a whole brand new plant, but this might last us another 20 years, but we can lease this property back to them at, whatever the rate is.
That was one thing. We could, it's prime farmland and it would actually pay for itself.
And we could get some revenue back into it, but yet we would always have the property there available in order to expand the plant. It would be very difficult to dig all those buried infrastructure from underneath. Be better to build a whole brand new plant with new process change all the time. So we could build that, have it online, have piping and everything to where we just got to open the gate and everything start flowing into.
And this is below market value.
I believe so, because he's using old appraisal rates.
And if we do eminent domain, we go at market value.
The average of 3 different market values.
Right, the average of 3 different market values.
It's taking a tax.
And then that's a long, lengthy process as well, correct?
It's because of the high inflation years, landfill typically advise getting a new, going without a new appraisal, but if he's exploding except 2021, I wouldn't have been close.
I think it's a good idea just to keep it out in front of us. And
What question?
we have a question from Council Lady Moore.
So I know it's on the ICIP list. If we don't get it funded, what's our next step? We don't just let it go. We just have to try to put it in the budget somewhere else. What else? What would be our step if we don't get any funding from ICIP, but we still need that land?
Council Lady Moore, we're going to have Lorenzo fill this one.
So Councilor Moore, I did talk with Janie Davies, the finance director, and we do have $7.2 million in the wastewater fund currently. So we do have the capacity to purchase the property outright. We're just going to see if we don't get any funding from the legislature first.
Okay.
But we do have the ability to purchase it with cash on.
All right. Good job. Good job. That was my only question. And so looking at these 2 pictures, last question, sorry. On this picture, you said that's not really right. So it's not a site 2 and a site 3. It's not.
No,
it's not
that's
really
incorrect.
what we're
We
talking
have
about.
a different site plan than that. Councilor Moore, we do have a different site plan. And I'll get a new one updated in the next infrastructure committee meeting.
Isn't site 2 a little bit bigger in your plan that you got, or a little smaller?
It's bigger. It's right there directly east. It goes from the wastewater treatment plant east all the way to Red Bridge Road.
Okay.
So essentially,
Site 2 and
Councilor Moore, site 2 and site 3 are combined.
Oh, easy breezy. All right. That makes better sense. And for that price, I think that's a good deal for sure. Even if, like you said, we run off some of that land. So while we waiting we might not need it for 20 years. None of us might not be around when they need it, but.
The mayor wants to grow marijuana there.
Let's on the end of that site 3. Let's put a little marijuana on there. We can really get our
free
money.
fertilizer.
Grow some marijuana.
Get different kind of high up that.
Look, it would really pay for itself. All right.
It would. You're exactly right, Councilor. And once again, I think this is a great idea. Chairman Photopest said to keep this out in front of us. And Lorenzo, thank you for your update on this. And, having a good dialogue with this gentleman is great. And thank you for that. Go ahead, Mayor.
And that site, that plant is very valuable for notice. You can tell and find what kind of diseases you have in your community, as well as whatever people ingest can come out. If you take a lot of drugs, it'll come out in the water. And if COVID, good place to find COVID. If you know how you have an outbreak of COVID, you can find that in the water. And so if you smoke a little pot, you can probably find that in the pot. I mean, in the water. So, you know, that's just a fact.
Let's move on to item number 7.
So
Council
Chairman,
Transit.
Transit's not here, so.
Chair, Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes, sir.
Transit, Miss Becky Hicks is sick. She went home today, sick. She did come in this morning, but she had to go home sick today.
Okay. We can move on to item number 8, fleet maintenance.
She's also over transit fleet maintenance.
She is over that as well, but she's not over, go ahead.
Just a quick question. Chad, do you have an idea of what she's talking about, transportation between Roswell and Artesia as far as the?
I do not.
I do.
Oh, go ahead, Council.
So there's an organization that approached the city to actually start providing services of transportation using our transit system for people back and forth between Artesia and Roswell. And so in the meetings that I attended, it was basically, yes, you were with us on that. It was just a solution for people who are going back and forth to the VA when that is not available. There is, Artesia has a very well set up living facility for those who are homeless or have some, you know, concerns. But the whole goal was to get organized transportation, and the funding exists for it, but to get it to set up and see what that looks like. And so I'm sure she just kind of wanted to give an update on, I think during our meeting, we kind of put it in the, you know, lap of the organization to actually figure out a plan and see how we can assist them, not necessarily making it so much a city responsibility, but more about the organization and then what kind of support we could provide. But I'm sure there's been additional things that have come into play, and that's what she wants to update on. Right, so.
Thanks for asking that, Councilor Kevin, but I also, you know, if you guys look at early morning, late afternoon, that is a madhouse driving back and forth from Artesia to Roswell. And to see the traffic that it generates, people that work in Artesia or people that live in Artesia that work in Roswell, I mean, it would behoove us to have a transportation system that goes back and forth. A railroad.
Great idea.
I mean,
Yeah. A runner?
but I seriously, I think the traffic there is unbelievable. If we were to do a traffic study, it would surprise us all.
There's actually a lot of people who go over, and then what happens is they'll get stuck there because they go over for appointments. And so they're trying to actually create a network with Artesia as well, where they're all dropped at one location and then can get rides to where they need to go. This is for people without vehicles who work there or have to go to the hospital there or vice versa, and down there and come back kind of type of system. So it makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. Let's go to item number 9, recreation.
See the numbers here, we're doing a little better on revenue than we did last. And attendance is increasing. That's a happy thing. The adult center, we just fixed, if you look at the pictures there, the adults in the fitness room, it's scattered all over the place. So it's now hanging up and it's nice and neat, clean the entire spot. Wednesday, 9 a.m. Ribbon. New pickleball. The sidewalks in, they've got mostly gravel there. I think they've installed plaque. Name on it.
Larry McCrary.
Yeah, everybody's been invited.
Mitchell. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's invited at 9 a.m. Wednesday to cut the ribbon. And then we'll look at some other issues further on down the line, putting in some fence and other things. But we're gonna get them opened up. That's the question.
No questions? Let's move on to item number 10, the zoo.
Okay. do, checking in there, making sure that the vet. Now, gives us a chance to look at our baseline on what we're gonna need financially. Also, a PO for the bearing closure to, go ahead and not build a brand new one, but knock the floor out of the two that we have. Can't take all the concrete out of the bears that dig out. But engineering, you know, where the water's gonna drain, we'll fill in two sides. So the animals have dirt play on, and then the other one have water. Person will see, there's actually a pit in there for the bears to get in. You can't really see it, but they can go play in the water. And, we update the pumps. It's like an old swimming pool pumps in the back, sand filters. Can you imagine what sand filters do with, bears swimming in the water? So we update something and how the zookeepers actually function in their enclosures. You want to mimic the mountain lion exhibit's fantastic. The bears be more difficult. So, hey, let's put a top on it, knock some holes in the floor, put in some dirt, fill some water in, and we'll get it. So we're looking at that.
Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Burris, can you comment on last month's revenues at the golf course?
Tim can, he can.
I think we're gonna move down to the golf course here shortly.
Pretty cool.
No, it's not on there. Oh,
Wait a
great.
minute.
That's part of recreation.
Yeah, it's part of recreation.
Oh, Tim.
I told you guys.
Tim, do a little bragging on your.
Hey, this is home run. We want to hear about the home run.
Yep, for those of you who don't know, this is Jonathan Allen. We're your newest golf coach at the Spring River Golf Course. We don't know exactly what a good month is, but we felt like we had a really good month in June. We almost came in about 160,000 in gross revenue. I wish we could take all the credit. We can't. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that make this work, and we're just one piece of it. Maintenance crew has done an amazing job of golf course. It looks amazing. If you get a chance to drive by, you'll probably notice our parking lot is pretty full all the time. The only complaint we get is we can't get on because you have too many tee times or there's not times available. To accommodate people started opening at 7 weekends. If you notice, we did tournament fees. Doesn't make the community terribly happy, but the best thing and the reason we do that, it's guaranteed rounds. So we guarantee money in that. We try to make the community as best as possible. We don't have any tournaments in July, and they're still really, really good. When we looked this morning, we're right around 73 to 74,000 in gross revenue halfway through the month without doing any tournaments. If you haven't heard, we do a Taco Tuesday. We got 100 people every in our waiting list. We had 8 or 9 teams on the waiting list just for tomorrow. So we accommodate as many people as we can, as many carts as we have.
And Tim, I know you don't have your revenues in front of you, but gross revenues outstripped your expenditures for that same month. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you brought in more tournaments, and on the calendar, particularly looking at August and September, you've added new tournaments to the golf course, which is prime season for playing.
Absolutely. I mean, there were and August, September, October. It was pretty mind blowing for us as a staff, considering that probably the best time of year to play golf because the weather is perfect here.
And your golf carts are making money? New golf carts?
New golf carts are, yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, this should be paid off pretty soon. But we're right around 3,500 rounds a month, which is, it's a lot of rounds of golf. It's a lot of people. I mean, we hosted a birthday party this last weekend. Never heard of such a thing. But there was 100 people. Got up a jolly jump. I mean,
You let them put up the jolly jump? That was.
But no water.
No water.
No
It's
water.
okay.
But they were, accommodated. There were 100 people there.
I was there this weekend. It was amazing. I barely found a place to park. I had to wait a little bit to even get a cart. The golf course is in immaculate condition. You guys have done an amazing job there. To watch this just flourish like that and to see so many happy people there. The whole atmosphere there was just an upbeat. You've done a great job and I can't commend you enough.
So there's a lot of pieces to this thing. It's here to represent.
Everybody believes in you over there and you have a lot of staff that's following. You're doing a great job. So you have a new sidekick here? Would you like
Yes, this is John. For golf.
I met you.
He's the phenomenal. And we haven't even started.
Yeah, I know. It's
something as simple as changing that, or being a little more welcoming. Service is a little bit better, and it's amazing what something as simple as that will do. And the community has
Sure. You start buying your ice with a pallet, so that eliminates that problem. We're getting ready for our new road, and those numbers don't indicate the fact that we stopped paying for inventory. We've got a budget, so the Boy Scout was skinny. You see what I mean? So that's going to get better, and then we have some other plans.
right.
But the cars,
Still have more plans.
yeah, of course, we have more plans. But I want to say thank you for the cars because they pay for themselves, right? And that's why we can turn so many people, of course, because we don't have to recharge the cars. Throw some gas in it, makes your spring, give it to the next customer. And that's actually helped the rounds. So that also came from you guys approving that purchase.
Go ahead, Mayor.
So they're making enough. I mean, Councilman Corn would like me to ask this to make sure you're getting enough money to pay for your $120,000 lawnmower.
The new equipment you gonna buy me or?
Well, I just remember that I've seen, to me, you've been whining about a lawnmower for a long time.
I got two, probably about 2 and a quarter, something like that. But I think we can get there. They got some stretch goals, probably take care of some equipment.
Well, if you can't find, they have what they call a bat wing, weed cutter. Well, if you can't find it, he's got it out to golf course cutting the weeds. Except he's not cutting the weeds, just cutting the fairway.
It's got a floating deck.
Yeah, and the bad thing is that when it hits a golf ball out there in the fairway, it shoots it. You gotta be careful.
It was nice to be there on hole 11 and watching somebody hit a hole 1 this weekend too. That was amazing. It was very amazing.
You mean you haven't had one?
Never had one. Never even seen anybody hit one.
Play them.
And I was golfing with my son and my son hit one. And I'm like, you're going to like that putt. Whoa, it went in. And we all went crazy. We screamed for a little bit. And about that time, the cart flies by and you hit a hole in one. You buy everybody drinks.
Yeah.
And it was a good time to be in that vicinity.
I hope he's 20.
Look how old I am. He's as old as you.
Mr. Vice Chair, in all seriousness,
Yes.
SORAC is one of our larger departments. As you know, we've got a lot of parks facilities. We've added some new facilities with the Aquatic Center. We revitalized our facilities over at the Adult Center, but it's a larger group. They've done an outstanding job. If you go to any of our parks or Aquatic Center or zoo or Adult Center, those are top flight place facilities, and that is due to this man and his team's work.
You guys are amazing.
They're knocking it out of the park, literally.
Got some great people.
The zoo, all the parks, the pickleball. I mean, I can't go on. The golf. You guys are just, wow, knocking it out of the park.
We're together as a team, so.
If we hadn't put all that money into charging to go to the zoo, and if we hadn't put all that in there, he had enough money, he'd already could have bought his 2 lawnmowers.
I think so.
Yes, sir. Just to clarify on that, the zoo's operating costs have been cut in half, from 1.4 million to 750,000 in 1 year's time. And again, that's removing gatekeepers and salaries of gatekeepers at the zoo. So thank you to the council and the governing authority.
The folks are still happy to limit the zoo.
Okay,
More things there too.
the anointing has gone on quite well here. I love it. You guys have done great. I mean, amazing. Thank you guys. Ruben, do you have anything good about the cemetery? So,
Chair, well, I just wanted to comment on burials that, you know, the numbers keep showing. Where we're doing a lot more cremations than we used to. It's become a thing now. So as you can, if you saw the last month's report, we're almost splitting it in half, where we had 12 casket burials and 11 cremation burials. When you look at the veterans, predominantly it's cremation going into a columbarium. And that's where I'm going with this.
you're going there.
So we're running out of, well, I should say we're running out of room, but we're filling block that people don't have someone that they can come along and bury a cremation along with the casket. Soon that's going to run out because we only allow 2 burials per space. 1 casket burial, 1 cremation. And I'm talking just South Park, okay? So soon that will run out to where someone already has someone else buried at the foot of. So when that comes to an end, you know, where are we going to put these cremations? Now, there are some concerns. I've had some calls. I think I expressed this the last time we met, where a gentleman called, mentioned there's a church here in town. They're kind of having a rough time right now. And his concern is, where are those cremations going to go? Because they have a columbarium there. So if their church comes apart, you know, they want to be able to take those cremations somewhere and kind of follow the same suit like they did at the church. Now, he asked me, do you guys have a columbarium? I said, well, we only have one at the veterans. You have to be a veteran. He asked me, do we have any anywhere else? I said, yes, you could probably contact local churches, but you have to be a member of those churches. So with that being said, I still would like to express the need of our own columbariums in South Park. So that's where we're at with that. I would say that's my concern with the way the burials are going. We still do have, of course, you know, we'll always have casket burials, but it's just the numbers are increasing every year. Where I think I've said this before, 17, 18 years ago when I started, it used to be like 3 casket burials to 1 cremation. And now we're going to where it's 1 to 1. So it's changed that much.
Well, but a casket burial costs $15,000 and the cremation costs $7,000. Isn't that about right?
Well, I don't know about the cost at funeral homes, but I'll give you the cost of cemetery. If you go with the space for a casket burial at $1,500 versus $400 for a cremation space. Okay, because I can't give you prices on a columbarium. So I'm sure the funeral home costs are a lot less, like you just said, for cremation versus casket burial.
You should probably look about whether you can set up a section in the cemetery where you could put multiple family members in one spot. You know, more like 6 people in one family, and, you know, the plot for Jennings right there, and you can put 7 people in it, or 8, whatever. Because you'd have to figure out a way to make sure you planted everybody in a proper order. Not everybody had been feeding.
Well, let me just touch on that right there. When the cemetery first started, they used to have family lots, which the Jennings have a family lot. And when you bought a family lot, that was like a 15 by 20. And it was your choice if you wanted to bury 1 person, 5 or 6, or however many you were able to fit there. Well, soon the cemetery found out that you're wasting land, because some folks did buy a lot and only had one burial. And then that was it. Either the family moved away or everybody passed away, and then that lot was left alone. So that lot will never be touched. So the cemetery changed to where now we sell spaces. We do not do family lots anymore. So you can buy a space that is a 4x10. Now that is limited to just 2 people to be buried there. Like I said before, 1 casket and 1 cremation. Or you could do 2 cremations, but you just can't do 2 caskets. Now aesthetically, that would create a mess, because if you were to bury 4 to 6 people in one space, say cremations, how are you going to put 4 to 6 headstones in one space? You will create a lot of issues with the maintenance of it, running mowers up and down, and you know, it's just, yeah. And the way right now the cemetery is, it's very, very symmetrical. And I mean, that's cemeteries. So if you look at our older part of the cemetery versus the newer part, makes sense.
Gotcha. Oh, go ahead.
We already have an RFP to start construction on the Columbarium Plaza. We just shrink it down, but it was one of the CIP items from the next go round. So get it started now, and if we have a need to keep going, and
Figure it out.
two body per niche. And then so, thing being now, we'll look at the cost. We don't set fees, that's up to council. So your return on investment, it's more expensive right now because you got slab and all the blacktop and curbing and all that. Eventually, as you start building out, it will pay for itself.
The RFP is set.
Yeah.
Where we're only purchasing so many, but we can grow the capacity.
Yeah, it's set for that. And one of the things for that, when we change the plan, is it needs to be a spot between the two where you're not gonna destroy the one you just built to add on to it. So it's redesigned a little bit.
That's good hearing that, Ruben.
And then I don't know, Ruben, what this Columbarium wall looks like, but he knows that we bring them in with a truck, the ice bags underneath them and set them on concrete. So I don't know, this church dissolves as a nonprofit, maybe there's something we could do. That's at the council and the city manager.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I don't know all the details. It was just a phone call that I got, and that was just concern that, you know, thinking ahead.
It's a good concern.
It is. It is.
So we're getting there.
Councilor Kevin.
So I know part of the conversation was, I mean, because I know some of the churches and I know the Institute, there's different columbariums in some of these entities, but if we looked at partnering with churches to be a part of building out columbariums out of South Park?
We haven't looked at that.
We have to talk to think about and partnering and First Baptist or Methodist Church or
have their own block.
Yeah.
That'd be fair for everybody.
That's Cabela's, you know, my whole family.
Right. So.
You just buy a wall. He wasn't listening.
I bought my lot back when they were $600. What are they now? 15?
Yeah.
I might have to sell mine.
It's food for thought.
No, it is.
Church on the, I mean, a lot of churches don't have room to put their own.
To expand, they don't.
So give that some thought.
Another opportunity to rock and roll and take care of the public.
Anybody else have any more questions for Ruben? Okay, well, next we have parks again.
Okay, well.
I mean,
695 acres, we couldn't water in because of the water. We've been planting a lot of trees still and cutting out some of the underbrush and dead stuff and just keeping up with everything. We did put down a lot of fertilizer, which is, you know, trying to keep up with the grass now. I don't know if anybody knows that we directed some of our focus to Styles football field. It was getting a little sad. So we gave it some love and it's really taken off. We are working with the manufacturer of the equipment to see if we can get things squared away with them and the streets department was kind enough to let me borrow the brush hogs to do the bigger parks, like Styles football field and, whatever. Soccer fields, whatever we do, we're mowing with zero turn that we get from Home Depot. So we're just gonna get them mowers fixed and probably approach everyone later. I don't know if it makes sense to lease equipment or not. I'd have to talk to Chad and everybody and Hess. And there might be a way instead. Something breaks, let them fix it. Bring me another one to use.
Do a little, put the pencil to the paper and do a little math and see what's
I'm
cost
just getting
effective.
started. We've always used Toro. I'm gonna reach out to John Deere. I've got their numbers now.
Sometimes leasing is better. Councilor Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Jim, and we talked about it a little bit in our last meeting, ICIP stuff and lights and everything. Where are we at with the 2.5 million that we got from the last legislature for Alliance Hondo and the Styles fields? Are we moving forward with that?
We sat down with Alliance Hondo, had those representatives in our office, along with James and Mac. Looked that over and got some quotes on the knob. And we'll keep going on that after the first year budget. And we'll start cycling those through.
Okay.
So we had main thing is get what we actually needed at Alliance Hondo. 2 lights, but the main thing was their bathrooms and then somebody for Styles and they need their restrooms updated a little bit. Take a look at their lights and maybe Lorenzo will help me get the manhole covered. One football field, the asphalt turf on it. Right. Hey, we can drop that a little bit deeper.
Andrew was supposed to have Rudy out there ready on that.
Yeah, okay.
I'll follow up with him.
That's kind of a thing. I'm surprised no one has.
We'll get that fixed.
Yeah.
So we already have those funds encumbered.
Well, there's a percentage of funds we have to encumber, but we have not encumbered.
Been awarded and budgeted, but not encumbered.
Let's make sure we get them.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a percentage each.
And all the quotes are underneath, all the quotes that are coming in are underneath the,
So far, we're doing okay. I mean, we haven't built the bathrooms yet and all that, but we got light quotes.
those are gonna be your biggest.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been hoping to get the ones, couple lights, hopefully, at least the bases. Top of field.
And Mr. Burris, you met with some light companies.
Oh, yeah, they're here last week.
Yeah, but we haven't gone.
Let's go lighting.
RFP or bid on them.
Oh, we've got, gotta get electrical engineers and who's gonna be the contractor and so on. Those things been ironed out. Yeah.
And the beauty of this, the lights are expensive, but the beauty of this is the LEDs they're gonna come out with, it's gonna cut the electric usage of that dramatically, and it's gonna be surprising to everybody. I can almost tell you.
Neighbors, this won't direct lighting, so it's not like it's lighting the whole neighborhood, it's lighting the ball field.
Right.
And the neighbors will be happy with that.
Oh, good.
A great example of those LED lights, if you want to see them, are over at the pickleball courts, the new pickleball.
Oh, are they
Those are
good?
LEDs and they're adjustable.
Did they open that up so you can go in there now? I mean, you couldn't get in forever.
No, sir, we didn't have a sidewalk or handicap. accessible. And we wanted to cut the ribbon.
We have any more questions for Mr. Burris? Let's move on then to solid waste.
They check, remember, thank you very much. I'm gonna keep it short. We only have, one, I know, mine's crazy. One of our recycling, you see on page 54. We have a lot of participants. Let's take this out. Yeah. As usual, we always have. We're trying to coordinate with departments. Not only that, we also information we get from the executive management to us. And also number 3, the Olympic dunking pole on page 60. That's prevalent to us. Topic number 3 that we really haven't shown yet, that's not coming to fruition, is we're assisting also FEMA, Department of Homeland Security. We're helping them transport some, we call it clean debris, which is basically strictly rock, Casey, wood, oil. We're gearing up right now to bring some stuff over. Army National Guard is on site. They've secured a specific area of landfill. They've run some heavy equipment. They're clearing up areas. So I think they're receiving stuff probably tomorrow. That's going to be funded directly to the state account. I've actually been working with Councilman Johnson, some of his colleagues. We're building that account right. So we will be getting paid every 30 days. We're not going to be billing FINMA or that, but after they're sorting out a little bit of details. Other than that, my report in front of you, if you have any questions, stands out. If you have any questions for me, what I talked about, I am open to answer any questions.
Mr. Chair, if I could just brag on Abraham and his team. Again, they're trying to keep up with all the illegal dumping in this town. It's a constant battle, but they stay after him every day, and every report that he gets his team out there very quickly to get it remedied. So.
And, you know, I often think about you guys when we looked at the Real Crime Center, you know, illegal dumping. I mean, man, we can see illegal dumping.
Yep.
We can start going after these people, and hopefully the Real Crime Center, they'll have cameras everywhere. And there's just so many benefits from it. And the illegal dumping was one of them that I thought of right away. Illegal dumping hits, boom, we look at the cameras. Now we have a perp and we go after them, and it's nice. So
it's something you can never let off the gas. You've got to stay on it, or it just builds.
Oh, I know. Up there. And I hate it. I live right by Lion Sondo, and I see it all the time, and I pull my hair out, and I'm running low on it now, and it's crazy. I just can't wait to someday get our arms wrapped around that. But I commend you guys for doing a great job.
So, Committee Chair, remember, just to your point, we do work with code enforcement, we do work with streets, we actually work with parks, we work with water to use our dump trucks. It's a collaborative city by that. We try to respond as quick as we can. We do have an RGIS system that has at least a year of the data that we kind of farmed out to code enforcement. They're going to be utilizing this system. We have a lot of that data in there. We now can see what the concentrations are of illegal dumping, the significant types, there's photos, there's information that maybe something we can use to apply for grants in the future as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mayor.
You need to have something about breaking down boxes that go into the trash.
Yeah.
I mean, there needs to be something. You guys got to start doing that. They do it every other city except us.
It's actually in our ordinance.
I know, well, I'm just saying we have to get some publicity or something. Signs on the cans or whatever to break down boxes.
So, Mr. Mayor, I would say that Abraham has gone on the radio and done some promotion there. What I think I'd like to see is a proposal that he sends over to Sarah Marks to get some information together so that it can be posted by Todd Wondermuth on the city's website and as education material, along with some information about recycling.
We'll get that out. We'll put it in our infrastructure committee for next month. I'm sure we'll shoot out, or we'll shoot out even quicker than that.
Before you go on the next subject, I want to talk to Jim about you.
Okay, any more questions for Abraham? Street department.
Street department, the big issue right now is weeds and mowing. The report's in the packet. Dan, for any questions? Atkinson. The manhole guy will be here July 19th. They started the road work today, so we're still shooting to get it done and out of the way by August 1st. That's our goal.
Day school starts.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for. The manhole guy will be here Friday. He's gonna work through the weekend. We're gonna have light plants out there so he can work at night, which also helps with the sewer flow being lower. So we can get in those manholes.
When does school start?
August 1st.
August 1st, okay.
Oh yeah, we're painting crosswalks.
Is that gonna hit the Hobbs Street and Roswell High about that time?
Hobbs Street, yes.
Okay.
And there's no, Hobbs Street's a 4-month project. There's no way we could miss it.
Hey, just checking.
And in fact, the crew was out there marking for the wheelchair ramps and stuff at Hobbs and Lee today. So the contractor can hopefully get those out before school starts.
Yeah, I was asked about that, and they said, really, right before school? And I said, well, we don't have to do it if you don't want. No, it's okay.
We're trying to get that intersection because that's where the light's at. And then we'll drop back and do the north side, starting at Main Street, work all the way to Union, and go from Union back to Main Street. That's where we'll be doing the sidewalk and ADA ramp.
You know, they might get some police out there because there is a problem with people going into Roswell High. There's some problems on that intersection. Sorry, it's Councilman Corn. Hello? Yeah.
Any more questions for,
Special electronics, I'll just go ahead and cover all three.
should you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We can, special electronics, it's a 2-man crew. We're down, this guy's been working 7 months on his own. And if I lose him and the lights go out, the police call in the middle of the night, there will be no budget. So, trying to get that resolved.
So Louis, can you speak to that,
Yeah,
that position, what that entails? It's essentially an electrician.
Special electronics, called the special electronics supervisor. You must have a journeyman EE 98. The specialty thing about it is that you got to go know the software of the lights. It's a 2-man crew, so even though you're a supervisor, you're on call 26 weeks of the year, 24/7 for those.
Do you recall the base salary for that position?
$65,000.
Plus you get all the city's benefits, para-retirement, health and medical at 87% paid by the city. You never know, the newspaper might have something like that.
We've gone.
How long have you had it posted?
Yeah, 7 months. We've gone to Indeed. We've gone to the local governmental municipal reporters, all that kind of stuff. You just can't get anybody.
So if anybody knows an electrician that can work in special electronics, that would be a great career for someone.
Okay, engineering, if you saw the newspaper, there was supposed to have been 3 postings. Roswell Daily Record had a goof. So they did advertise the mill and fill project, which is our one project for this year. They did put out the RFP, open RFP for engineering and architectural services, which Solid Waste was referring to. The main object there is to get more vendors on our list so we can get more competition. And Wednesday, I say tomorrow, but Wednesday is the next newspaper. They will advertise, Lorenzo, your RFP, utility repair services. And the idea is there to get the same vendors back. They also try to find some manhole vendors. That way, when something happens like it's done on Atkinson, we don't have to wait so long. But that's the purpose of going out with these RFPs for engineering and utility repair services. We're in the 3rd year or the 4th year, the second extension to make it the 3rd year. We're just trying to get ahead and get some more vendors. You saw that on the Hobson. We only had 1 vendor because there's a shortage of vendors, shortage of engineers, and then specialty contractors like for the manholes, they're hard to come by. So we're trying to get some and have them on our list. So when something happens, we can just get quotes and get everything fixed.
Gotcha.
And I stand for any other questions on engineering. The dashboard report's in the packet, and that's it, Mr. Chair.
Now we move on to, I'm sorry, go ahead. Councilor Cap.
Mr. Burke was trying to follow up and wanted to say something else about this. And I think you quite caught that. So before we get to public.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Burks.
Well, you got to mention about the fishing. I slipped my mind. We had a pollinator party out there the day, and Golly Jones and everybody and the brother was out there, and kids over there fishing, having a great time. But we're putting 130 last time to 150 fish in there every 2 weeks. So, yeah, big ones, but no, it wasn't a one-time shot.
They've come back. This is their
Regular
second.
time. It's like third or fourth time.
I've been watching the Stockton report.
Have you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, we've been
I
putting.
did.
Came out this last week.
Yes, it just came out last week.
So,
Mike, I swear.
it's very exciting
Me
that.
and Mike jumped the fence together. Go ahead, Jim.
You know, Cable Fish doesn't work 24/7.
I know that.
I give you the schedule. No, fantastic to see, and everybody's following rules. They got the little kids and they're helping them cast and stuff. I don't see a lot of adults going straight in there without children. And we can tell them, oh, by the way, it's just catfish right now. But the water itself is holding, it's not going to wood. We haven't had any issues.
Catfish and turtles.
Yeah, catfish and turtles.
Yeah.
And we take the turtles and put them over there in the river. They slide right down and off they go. I think they go out to wastewater. I'm not sure, but. You know what I mean? He's free. So anyhow, the kids are having fun and
They are, and that is great. To see one of those kids with one of those 18 to, I've seen some of them as big as 22 inches.
Yeah.
Working their pole and the look on their face. Oh my gosh. And then they sit there and take pictures and they talk about it the rest of their lives. Yeah. And these are real fish stories.
Yeah.
Not some of the ones that I used to come up with, but these are real fish stories.
You got to bring it up.
Yeah. Hey, and thank you so much. Cause I really thought about that a lot. Cause I did talk with a little boy, he's 11 years old and oh my gosh, he just is ecstatic with it. And he did tell me he caught 2 turtles. And he said one was trying to bite him. And, but the amazing picture he has and the look on his face, I mean, these are priceless pictures. Thank you. You've done the city so much justice there.
If you want to see an adult's face light up like a kid,
yeah.
Watch him go ride that train.
Yeah.
Really? That is nice.
Get it going.
That is nice. The city is going in the right direction. I can't say enough about that.
Restrooms have been rebuilt out there, so
You
if you
know.
haven't been to the restrooms at the zoo, we might want to just go and take a peek.
Seriously,
They're ADA, so Rita's happy. She's already measured everything. And
Epoxy floors.
they're clean and bright. Yeah, epoxy floors.
nice.
Yeah, tweak a couple of things, but
Right.
we're right there. So
Wow.
it is. Everything's good.
That is good. That is good stuff. You know, the city has done leaps and bounds. We've turned out so many things. It's just great things to hear. Our only blemish, of course, is the water bill, you know, and it's, hopefully we can work through that. But do we have anybody online with, that has a question or public participation? Going once, going twice. Do we have anybody in the room that would like to speak of something?
Mr. Vice Chair, I just wanted to let you guys know one thing.
Yes, sir.
Last month, we had 2 of our operators go up to Casper College in Wyoming. They received a week's worth of training. They got their certified underground locator certifications. I thank Chad and Harley upstairs for helping us wiggle through that because it was one of those end of the year things that we had to work through. But they helped us get through that, and now we have 3 certified locators like that.
Training, explains. Perfect.
And Mr. Chair, just so you know, Water Department has made leaps and bounds in terms of its training programs and the documented activity of the training programs. But whether it's on-site, actual hands-on, task book training, teaching the class after you've mastered the course, water is in a different place than it was a year ago.
That's great.
And super proud of what they've done over there.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that.
It's a lot of help from safety and Chad.
Perfect.
Everyone, you know, the insurance fund, everybody has been, it's been good.
And just so you know, we've got the water department supervisors are going out and auditing each trench and each site and going through with a check sheet, making sure that things are happening. Those things are happening. That's reported to me on a monthly basis now. So And we also have the self-insurance fund that is sending a person down to come and audit not only our water department, but some of our other departments that work heavy equipment and those types of things. So we've got eyes on, and we're all looking over each other's shoulders to make sure we're getting it right and keeping our people safe.
Second, Erica was here on Thursday
Yes, sir.
and went out and caught, she went out, we had 3 crews out doing 3 different main breaks, and she went out and checked all of them, didn't have any complaints.
That was my next question. We do the audits, but do we have audit plan, And-
Yeah, and that's the
report.
If we put on there.
I mean, that's our opportunity to get better, and that's the beauty of a good audit.
And it's not just our staff that's auditing ourselves, it's our insurer auditing ourselves. They've got
And
a
independent.
motivation. They've got a motivation to make sure we're getting it right.
But even the report that Chad gets, it has what we found wrong and what we did to correct it.
Right.
A lot of it's just training out the field.
Yeah, and that means a lot.
Yep.
Ruben?
Just want to let you know that, yeah, they came out to our place on last week, like Thursday or Friday,
Nice.
to look at our way of doing what we do.
You got the little audit going on over there as well. Audits are a good thing. People, tend to look at government sometimes and think we cut corners and do things irresponsible. And I think external auditors are a great thing. The checks and balances are good. And, I said it once a while ago, and I'll say it again. We shouldn't look at it as a reprimanding tool unless it's reoccurrence, but as an opportunity to get better at what we do. So.
Yes, sir. And the main thing in our messaging to all the employees of the city, no matter what position you're in, how high or how low on the rung you are, everybody has the ability to say, stop, this is not safe.
That's a good empowerment. That is an excellent empowerment. Perfect.
Rita, do you have anything?
I do, but I'm going to talk to Chad.
Uh-oh. Do you have anything? Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay, with that being said, at 3:42, we're going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Been nice knowing you, Ted.